All right, folks, we are at Scratch Kitchen and Catering. We're gonna do a mini soccer camp, and we're gonna answer one question. Soccer camp, one question. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so what's soccer camp? In my mind, it's an idea that it's somewhere where you go, where you can have fun, where you have fun playing soccer. You're gonna get a little bit better, and you're gonna make some friends. So I've been trying to take the idea of this soccer camp that you could remove the location and bring it everywhere you go, just with a few tools, or even maybe no tools at all, maybe even just a tennis ball and a piece of rope. You can really challenge your body, move around, stay relaxed, right? Breathing, staying relaxed, and just have a lot of fun. So, okay, let's talk about what we ate, because this is important, because there's going to be times where you have limited options, and you have to make a selection from limited options how to fuel your day. Charles Poliquin says, and Charles Poliquin he has more gold medals than any strength coach that's alive or dead. And he says that the secret to his success is having a big breakfast. And what he says to do is aim for local fruit, a variety of nuts to avoid sensitivities, a piece of protein, right? A piece of meat. So you could do a plant protein, or chicken, or beef, or fish. And then he says, you want a healthy fat, right? So you're aiming for 4 things: local fruit, healthy nuts, piece of protein, and a healthy fat like avocado or olive oil or some guacamole. So you also want to eat this meal from most liquid to most solid. That's another caveat, right? So it's aiming for those 4 things and then eating your meal from liquid to solid. If you can aim for just those things alone, it'll help you digest your food more effectively, which means you just won't, it's gonna be hard to play if you got a stomach ache on the field, right? So this is something that's so simple, but it's so pervasive, because most people eat food at least once a day. And if you think about, you'll probably play in a 52-week year. If you're a competitive soccer player, you're playing at least 50 games, maybe 40 games. So it matters, right? It matters. If you dedicate a significant portion of your life to playing soccer, then these little things add up to big things. And this is stuff I wish I knew. Even going into my senior year as a D1 college soccer player, I just had no idea. It's like these little things are just things that I wish I knew, that I'm still talking about to this day. So, okay, so what do we have? At Scratch we had a breakfast burrito, we had a breakfast cheeseburger, and we had coffee and apple juice, right? We went water, apple juice, coffee, and then we stripped the wrap off the breakfast burrito, and we stripped the buns off the burger, and we just ate what was left. And then for a fat, we did some sour cream, right? So we were missing local fruit, we were missing a variety of nuts, but we got 2 out of the 4: some protein and some fat. Another thing that Charles Poliquin says is that he says that people in prison, they have the worst food, they get no sleep or low quality sleep, and yet they have world-class physiques. So he says, you don't want to use diet as an excuse for poor training or lack of just getting started, right? You could always, right? Because then you could get into this mindset of, oh well, my diet isn't perfect, so my physique shouldn't be, I shouldn't have a world-class physique, or since I don't have supplements, I shouldn't, my physique, it's not taking responsibility for your own training and your own lifestyle and your own diet. So you kind of hide behind the shield of, well, my diet isn't perfect, so I'm allowed to look like I look. So it's kind of this interesting, right? It's like these two conflicting ideas. One is let's be very thoughtful about what we eat and aim for it at every meal, and the other is it doesn't matter what you eat, because even in prison with low quality food and low sleep, people are still training smart, and their body is a result of that training. Another thing that I do that you can't really see behind the scenes is that when I eat the meal, I'm sitting in a Kedora Zayani 7 posture, right? Which means I'll either be standing up, with my leg perched up if it's conducive, right? If there's a bar counter, that's when I'll have my foot up. So I'm in this kind of power posing position. Or if I'm sitting in a chair, if there's nowhere where I could stand, I'll be sitting with one leg, right? I try to keep my feet off the chair, but I'm sitting so that I have this nice, I'm getting this nice stretch in my front, in the front of my calf. I'm getting this nice stretch in my, right, I'm pointing my toes and my ankle, and you can start to rotate down and sit back on it. It's almost like your butt is sitting on the inside of your foot. Another thing I do behind the scenes, or I try to do, is if I'm sitting with family, right? If you're sitting with family, and this has completely changed my life. This is from Arthur C. Brooks. You hold your family's, people you're sitting with, hand before you eat, and you just take a few breaths, ideally 6 breaths. That's what Charles Poliquin says will lower your heart rate. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 breaths is enough to lower your heart rate significantly. So if you could hold your family's hand, or whoever's hand you're sitting with, before you eat, it does something to the time that you spend eating together. I believe it elevates it. And you know, I'm not calling it a prayer. I just feel like it's been some of the happiest moments of my life when you can pause and just be present with the people you're with. And if you're with yourself, if you're by yourself, I like to put my hand, right, put your hand on your heart and just take a breath. Breathing into your belly. Smell the flowers. Blow out the candles. Flowers, candles. Flowers, candles. And paradoxically, you want to keep your phone off of the table and out of sight. Some people will have their phone on the table while they eat, and they think that just because they put it face down, that's going to show whoever they're with, or even themselves, that they're present. But it's not the case. Even just the sight of a phone will change the dynamic of the meal with yourself and of the people you're sitting with. So that's just something to keep in mind, and just test it to see some of the stuff works, right? These sitting postures, this holding of the heart, the holding of the hands with the family of Reggie. This is stuff I'm still doing, and stuff I wish I knew a long time ago. So hopefully it helps. Okay, let's move on to the question. The question is from okay. It's okay. Well, I forgot who it's from, but this is the answer. And you said, if I don't have a ball or a gym on vacation, will I start to, or it's how long will it take for me to get back on the horse, or what can I do if I don't have gym or ball. Okay, at your local hardware store, or you know, there might be a local CVS or Walgreens, or even hardware stores will probably have a tennis ball. I'd be very surprised if you couldn't find a tennis ball, a balloon, a bouncy ball, a ball of some size, right? I think you'd almost have to be, I promise you, if you put a little bit of effort into it, or if you're on an 8-day vacation, you could Amazon Prime yourself a 3-pack of tennis balls or a size 1 ball, and that would be a quick fix to this question. Just order yourself a ball. But if you have a local hardware store or a local CVS, this is what you can do, right? So once you find a tennis ball, then you want to bring it everywhere you go, especially if you're committed to playing, because then you can start doing two things with the ball. And this is a fundamental. You want to play, juggle, and dribble everywhere you go, because they make up the basis of being effective on the soccer field, right? And this is something that isn't really being taught by most. I mean, most people aren't talking about this stuff these days, right? So you want to. The goal is to raise your training intensity while staying very relaxed, right? Because if you can't get into a nice rhythm, if you can't stay relaxed, if you don't know how to breathe effectively, then it's gonna be hard for you to be effective at the highest level when you're playing. So the first thing that you want to understand is that breathing is the most important skill that a soccer player can learn. And the reason is because of the rule of 3. 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 weeks without food or water, give or take, right? 3 minutes without air and you'd be dead. So there's this breathing technique by Dr. Vranich that completely changed my life. And if you want to know if it applies to you, take this test. If you take a deep breath and your shoulders go up into the air, right? If you go, right, your shoulders go up, then you want to search Dr. Vranich, how to breathe. Vranich. I talk about it in probably almost close to every single video I make, because it's just so relevant, and it's something I wish someone would have told me when I was 6 years old, 7 years old. All around the world, they teach breathing and relaxation techniques to young students, young sports players. Yet in the U.S., it's rarely taught, right? So belly breathing looks like this. It's breathing in through your belly, right? It's here. And the reason why this is so important is because it uses less energy breathing with your upper back and shoulders. Which means if you can learn the simple breathing technique, you're going to effortlessly improve your endurance and stamina in an instant, right? Because all the energy that you'd be using for your upper back and shoulders, think about how many times you breathe in a day. All that energy could shift into fueling the needs of your body while you're playing, while you're training, right? It's going to help you recover faster after an intense sprint or an intense bout of exercise. It's going to take pressure off your spinal column. It's going to massage your internal organs. It's going to help you stay relaxed in high pressure situations on and off the field. So if you could only take away one thing from this video, that would be it. If you change the way you breathe, you're going to change your life. Okay, so let's go right into a simple rotation you could do between juggling and dribbling, and this is some fundamental stuff that'll take you 60 seconds a day, maybe 120 seconds a day, right? 60 seconds juggling, 60 seconds dribbling, and then rotating on and off for as long as you have energy for, and then you could either take a break and then go back into it. And that's one, right? It's a mini soccer camp, right? Just having fun getting some touches. Okay, so it looks like this. Some people like to start with extra dribbling sequences. Some people like to start with juggling sequences. Test it, play with it, test it, see what works for you, see what you like better. Tom Turnbull, I went to a skills trainer named Tom Turnbull, and we would start with ball mastery. It would be a warm-up, then it'd be ball mastery and dribbling sequences. But I really like how effective dribbling sequences are, because the reason they're so effective is because they're rhythmic patterns. They allow you to not think about dribbling. If you can not think about dribbling while you're dribbling, it's going to help you be more relaxed on the field. It's going to help you dance around defenders, and it's going to allow you to get your head up, see the field more clearly, time and space, and make better passes and put better shots on goal. So Tom Turnbull's dribbling sequence looked like this. He went outside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, outside, inside, outside, inside. Right? You repeat this over and over and over while saying it out loud. When you say it out loud, it helps you establish a mind-body connection. Right? You internalize it faster. If you did the sequence without saying it out loud, I don't think you would improve as fast. So that's a key point. The next thing that I've noticed through the years of teaching this to players and thinking about it myself, I notice boys in particular will try to do this too fast, right? They try and rush the sequence. The slower you go, the smoother you'll be. The smoother you are, the faster you'll be able to do it in a game scenario. Right? So they say slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Outside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, 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 outside, inside, outside, inside. Outside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, outside, inside, outside, inside. Woo! I'm getting way too tired, way too fast. Okay, so then we switch right into our juggling sequences. And there's this pattern that I've really liked. If you want to check out, if you're looking for some inspiration for a juggling teacher, check out _ty.fitness_ on Instagram. He's probably one of the most effective rhythmic jugglers that you could possibly emulate. His juggling patterns are unreal. And it's not just freestyling. There are a lot of players, they spend so much time learning freestyle moves. These are not freestyle moves. These are moves. These juggling sequences will help you become more effective on the field because they're rhythmic, and he does them in a relaxed way. Where it's going to translate. It's going to immediately translate into improved passing and shooting. Right? Because you could say juggling is like rhythmic passing, or you could say juggling is like rhythmic shooting. Juggling will even improve your dribbling abilities because of the weight of each touch. So that's, one more time, that's _ty.fitness_ if you're looking for some juggling inspiration. This pattern that I've been thinking a lot about in the past, maybe for the past year, it's twos, right? 2 on the right, 2 on the left, or 2 on the right thigh, 2 on the left thigh. And the reason I like it is because it mimics, in my mind, running technique to a degree. Right, when you run, you go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's David Weck says there's 2 beat counts, 2 pulses on each foot, right? Because it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I try to, when I juggle, these days I've been thinking about doing 2 on each side, right? So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So, and even there, 60 seconds right there, you got a lot of players running in straight lines on treadmills, doing John Terry workouts, or they're in the gym doing gym bro, right, 6x6, 5x5, heavy lifts on rows, bench, shoulder press, lat pull downs, and going heavy on squats and deadlifts, when 60 seconds a day of juggling and dribbling is 10 times more of an effective teacher in terms of, I mean, even just as a warm-up. Right? I'm not saying that you shouldn't do those things. Right? There's levels. Right? Some exercises are more effective than others. So I used to be the person that used to do gym bro. That used to be gym bro. I used to do gym bro lifts, or I used to spend too much time running on a treadmill. So I did both of the biggest mistakes way too much, when 60 seconds of this every single day to build the habit would have been more effective. And a few things about juggling. Right, some players, when they drop the ball juggling, they don't use the ground to their advantage. Right, so they get too frustrated with themselves just because the ball hits the ground. If the ball hits the ground, you want to use it as a training partner. Right, ground gets a touch, you get a touch. Ground gets a touch, you get a touch. So I would get too frustrated when the ball hit the ground, so just pop it back up. Right, nice and easy. Right, so have fun with it. Second thing is, for any player having difficulty juggling, there's a quote that goes, "Make skills easy, make strength hard." You want to use different sizes of balls, balloons, hacky sacks, bouncy balls, whatever you have. Take stock of whatever you have in your house. There's probably some balls in your basement, closet, attic that you have that you could use, and if you could use it, it would completely change the trajectory of your training. Right? Lighter balls will improve your precision. Heavier balls, like basketball, medicine ball, will improve your power. Using both will sharpen your touch and make you more dangerous on the field. Lastly, if you go to your local hardware store and make what's called an RMT rope, then you can basically make one of the most effective soccer training tools that I'll probably bring with me everywhere I go for the rest of my life. And the reason why it's so powerful, well, there's a few reasons. The first is because it's light, it's lightweight, It's portable, right? It's portable and it's cheap. You could go to your local hardware store and say, can you cut me a piece of soft rope of any width, right? This width it's no bigger than my finger, right? So not too wide at all. The width doesn't matter too much. It's just about getting started. Get yourself a piece of rope, right? This is called an RMT rope. Stands for rotational movement training. And what it does is it allows you to bend and twist your spine while also improving your balance, timing, rhythm, and coordination. The founder, David Weck, says, if you could only learn one rope flow pattern, you want to learn the alternating underhand sneak. And the reason why you want to learn the alternating underhand sneak is because it teaches perfect running technique, right? Because it goes it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Some people like to pivot the feet. Some people like to keep the pelvis and the toes aiming forward while also bending and twisting their upper back and spine. So there's a lot of variations. You could go low, you could go high up on your toes. So, and you'll notice that as you use an RMT rope or a jump rope, right? You could use a jump rope. You could cut a towel in half long ways. You could tie 2 shoelaces together. You could use a men's tie, right? You could use an extension cord. I've used an iPhone charger as a makeshift RMT rope. So it's not about the rope itself. It's about using a tool that allows your body to move in different ways, and the tool becomes your teacher. So okay, let's learn the alternating underhand sneak. First step is underhand swing. Traditional jump rope starts from the back and right you jump through it. Alternating underhand sneak, you're going in the opposite direction as a jump rope, and then you reach your arm behind the back, grab the elbow, slide it down to the wrist, slide it down to the handles, then you go double behind the back. So it's here, 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 here. Drill this. You want to drill this for, it took me 3 days to learn alternating underhand sneak, and I had to do this every spare moment I got. Because from here, this will allow you to effortlessly go from here to here. Right? So one more time. It's underhand swing, reach around the back. Some people's shoulder mobility or their chest is so tight that they might not even be able to get right here. Right? Some people can't even get here. So I would say if you can't even reach your elbow behind the back, maybe put your elbow on your lower back, right, and see how that feels. Right? That's okay. Maybe you can't even get to your lower back. Maybe you can only get to your right hip. That's okay too, right? You gotta respect your own journey. You could only run your own race, so take your time with it. Don't rush it. I got so frustrated trying to learn this frickin' underhand sneak. You have no idea. I was bonking myself in the head, and I'm someone who wants to learn way too fast, right? I expect. You gotta take your time with it. You gotta take your time with it. So, right, it's underhand swing, and then if you can do it, elbow, down to the wrist, down to the hands, double behind the back, and then from double behind the back, drill this over and over and over. 3 days I drilled this, as whenever I had a spare moment, I would drill this. I brought this rope, well not this rope, I brought a rope to work, and then the rope I brought to work, I would just do this before, during, and after. And then from here, it's over, 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 right? Here, 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 here. Right, so if you're on vacation, the question is, can I find a ball of any size? And can I find a rope or make an arm T-rope, or just at your local hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's, or your local hardware store, or your a marine store, fishing store should have some rope or some line. This is called fishing, right? This is sailing line that you can turn into an RMT rope. So with just those two tools, you can completely change the trajectory of your training, your game, and your life. So thank you to Scratch for the delicious breakfast. We're in Newport, Rhode Island. Reach out with any questions. 508-505-1180, I think.